Love and Light. I'm your host, Dr. Jane Mountrose, and I'm here with my wonderful friend and co-host, Gretchen Comer. We're both spiritual coaches, healers, and spiritual guides. So that's partly why we're here today as spiritual guides. I think to help people to move into those places that are beneficial to them for their own growth and for really living life to the fullest. I would say that's always been something that's of interest to me, is like, how can I live life to the fullest? So we're going to discuss digging deeper and entering the divine flow of your life. And I think that's we were discussing it a little bit before we started. It's quite a topic. But I think the thought of being in the flow has always been meaningful to both of us. And if anything, it feels more important now than it ever has before in this particular time we're in, where we have the opportunity to awaken more easily. And also we have a lot of congestion around us that is trying to pull at us within society. So you could describe entering the flow of your life as the ultimate clear, actually, for the misunderstandings and misuse of our divine nature that have plagued us humans for thousands of years, really. When we dig deeper into the truth, we can awaken the divine gifts that we've been given to lift ourselves and humanity out of fear and limitation into a place really that's, well, I would say heaven on earth. Heaven is within that sense of life being heavenly. So as I mentioned, it's a big topic, and it also opens us to the possibility, as I suggested, of living with more joy, more love, more freedom. It's not something like it's something you have to do that's a dogma. It's actually something that frees you to more fully be in the moment and experience the synchronicity and the magic that's there. So as always, I want to thank you for being here as emissaries of love and light. The circle is here every week at this time to light up our lives, to heal, to grow, and to stand up as beacons of light for the world, which benefits everyone. I want to remind the people who are here, and I see Babs and Sharon are here, welcome, to say hi. And if you're new, tell us where you're from, and feel free to share your comments, your insights, whatever you're experiencing, because we're all here together, as a collective, and we enjoy hearing from you. One more thing before we start on the topic is we always start by just focusing for a moment on the breath. We're going to take a few, I usually think of 3 nice, beautiful breaths of divine light. And my feeling now is that we all deserve the most amazing breath we could possibly take, always. So just imagine that, what that is for you. Joyful, loving, nurturing, taking nice full breaths of that light of the divine. And as you exhale, releasing any heaviness you might sense around you or within your body. And in the stillness, just becoming more present in your body, bringing the fullness of yourself to this time we have together. That feels so good. So with that, I'd like to turn to you, Gretchen, and ask you to share a bit about why this topic is important to you.
Sure. Thank you, Jane. So this is an interesting topic for me because it's something that I work with all the time. And for me, in order to get in the divine flow, I really have to get out of my own way. So it's really about, for me, it's about being more attentive to the synchronicities in life and believing and trusting that what is happening is for my highest good. And it actually can be really simple. I think one of the ways that I can feel when I'm out of the divine flow, and you can sense it, when you're not really flowing and you're not really in it. It's something that you do understand. It's tangible, I would say, for me to know when I'm in it. But if you feel like you're not in it, I find that being out in nature is one of the best ways for me to get back into that flow and get out of my head and more into my body. So part of that for me, my work is to get out of my head and back into my body to really sense that flow. But it's really about awareness too. It's about being attentive and aware, especially to the synchronicities in life. And then, when you find that you're out of the flow, just to reconnect with your breath, reconnect with your heart space. It's very simple to do. And you'll know when you're in that flow because you're responding to life instead of reacting to the things that come up. And the challenges that are in our paths and our life paths are not to work against us. They're actually to teach us how to evolve more soulfully. And so for me, it really is about reconnecting with that heart space when you feel like you're not in it. And that's also a way to stay in that flow for me, is to continually reconnect with the heart space when I'm not feeling that. And then just trusting and believing that it's going to happen exactly as it should. That's the beautiful part about it. There's not a lot we have to do. Like you said, it's not a dogma. It's about being in the ultimate flow of life. It's about being in
it's an
that.
opportunity for sure.
Right. Exactly. Exactly. So for me, it's really about being more attentive though, and bringing my awareness out of my monkey mind more into my body, so that I can really tune into that flow. And then of course paying attention to the synchronicities. The synchronicities are so fun because when things happen and you make all these connections, you feel that joy. It's exciting,
Right.
to make those connections. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, if I can get out of my own way, I'm great.
Right. And well, there was so much to unpack in what you said, a whole bunch of things.
A lot.
come
Yeah,
to
right.
mind. The first thing that it made me think of when you were talking about getting back to nature is uh, the thing that really has changed my life so much in the last few years was when Metatron came to me and said that he said that I have to access my full range of resources. And I didn't understand at all what he was talking about, but it was pretty simple. It was connecting with the beings of light who are supporting us, which includes the angels, the divine masters, and also nature, connecting with the blessings of nature that are all around us. And I think that is one real simple way a lot of times to just come back. We talk, well, I talk a lot about trees. I think Gretchen really loves trees too.
I do too. I do.
And they have a way of, when you connect with them, of just slowing things down and grounding things, and also connecting with heaven above. It just I sit my favorite tree that we have around our yard is in the front yard, and I've gotten into this habit. I have one of those little chairs that puts you close to the ground, that has just the legs are like this tall. And I go out and I sit there on the grass facing the tree, right in the shade of the tree, and it's just a magical experience. So there are simple things we can do, and we have to find the ones that work for us. But I do think there's something about trees and trees that they are
I
here
agree. Yeah.
for us for a reason. Of course, everything is here for us for a reason. But that was one thing you mentioned, and also mentioning the synchronicities. And it was interesting because when Gretchen and I got on here a little early. Oh, I wanted to say hi to Nikki too. Hi, Nikki. I forgot. We both got on a little ahead, and I was on actually a couple minutes before. I had done been doing actually a lot of activities getting ready here, and I had a few minutes, so I thought, wow, this would be a great time to draw an oracle card. And I think as people who are with us often know, we both really love drawing oracle cards. So when Gretchen got on, she mentioned she had also just drawn an oracle card. And I think it might be worthwhile for us to both share what we received from the oracle cards, because that is oracle. I think one of the ways I look at using oracles is that it's intentional synchronicity. You're inviting a synchronous experience into your life in the moment. So would you like to share yours?
Sure, sure. So I was preparing for this. I always like to draw a card, like you said, and I chose the card flow, which I thought
Which
was
is interesting.
so funny. I immediately started giggling, which elicits joy. I mean, I immediately elicited joy within me, and I thought, all right, this is perfect for this. And yeah, I mean, it basically has such good wisdom. It just says, there are times when you need to just enter the flow. Notice where life is going and go more in that direction. So it's about flowing with the way that life
Yeah,
is.
right. Yeah.
And
Not
and then
resisting. That's an important
exactly,
point.
exactly. And it says when you go with the flow, your life force expands and healing on all levels abounds. That's a beautiful thing to realize, that when we're paying attention, that this to me was a huge synchronicity today to choose this card,
Yeah, yeah.
so fitting for the
It's almost
topic.
it's funny. When she showed me the
Yeah.
card, it's like you laugh
Well,
because it's like, of course.
right. My
Let's the
guides have such a
obvious.
great sense of humor. Right. My guides have such a good sense of humor. I
Right.
always feel like that. They're always cracking up. But one of the things that I love what it says is if you aren't feeling the smooth currents of life, it might mean that you're being self-critical or judgmental. And I think those are good points to bring up, because I think so many of us deal with that on a daily basis. We're not perfect. We're not meant to be perfect. And so unfortunately, when life comes at us and we're dealing with the different challenges in life, we're not always going to do it perfectly. We're not always going to flow, but it's good just to simply bring your awareness to those simple things. Where am I being critical? Am I being judgmental about myself right now? That's really good self-inquiry, to do when you want to get more into the divine flow and understand what that means for you.
Mhm.
And I think those are good questions to ask. If I'm not feeling like I'm in the divine flow, why not?
Right.
What's going that's keeping me from being in that flow. So I love that it asks those questions, because I feel like that's really important, to just do the self-inquiry, just very simple, asking yourself a few questions and just trying to discern, where you can make small changes, where you can open up a little more, maybe where you can reconnect with your heart space and
Mhm.
let that flow,
Right.
So yeah, I love
Yeah.
that part.
Yeah, it's beautiful. One of the things I do, I think I've mentioned it before in the circle. I developed this habit years ago, and I feel this kind of thing may not be necessary to do, like having a ritual around something. But it works for me. I've done it for so long, it's very compelling to me. And what it is of course being in the flow. It is in the flow with the divine, right? And going back to the message from Metatron is being, living with an awareness of the angels and masters and the elemental beings who are all around us and wanting to cooperate with us and wanting to assist us, but we have to ask.
Mhm.
And so sometimes if I'm just in the middle of something and I think of being in the flow, and I think often the phrase I use is being in the flow with joy and ease. But sometimes I'll just, and what I do, actually, the way I decided I would communicate with the divine, and this is so that I would be certain in myself that the communication was delivered, is I tap myself 3 times on the forehead and then I say what I want. And it's like, flow, please. It's kind of like you just have to ask them to help. So flow, please. Or if I'm writing, if I'm on a drive and I'm entering freeway traffic or something, I'll just tap myself 3 times and I'll say, in the flow, please. Flowing traffic, just envisioning the traffic flowing beautifully. Or just any time, flow with joy and ease, please. It's very simple.
I love that. It's like, yeah, you're like anchoring it into your physical body. I like that you're
right.
doing
And I
something
think
physical.
doing it in your third eye, it
eye,
felt good. And I think that helps actually in the area that I identified with my reading today, or was suggested to me, I should say, because I was just settling in. And the card that I received, and this is again from the Sacred Destiny Oracle, is called Simplicity. And I think Gretchen already suggested you have to be in a place where you're open to cooperating with what is. There's something simple in your intention that allows you to be in the flow with the divine. Because if we're resisting what is, and if we're like all over the place, first, and she said this too, you need to bring yourself back into the moment a little bit. And I think the 3 breath thing works really well too for that. Just, okay,
yeah,
breathe,
right.
Be in your body. You can do
Right.
it. I should turn this sound here on my phone.
That's a great way to distract yourself almost. It's kind of a parasympathetic thing where you just distract yourself a little bit by taking those 3 breaths. It shifts you so much. It can do so much. That really simple technique.
Yeah. I think sometimes about how we're in momentums. Like I have to do this, and then I'm going to do that, and then I have to do this, and I'm going to go over there and do that. It's like your whole day is all over the place. Well, why not just be? Because it's kind of like you can be in the moment or you can be in a momentum. You can't do both. So anyhow, I wanted to read what it said about simplicity too, because I thought it was so beautiful. To find sacred simplicity, and it talks a little bit about the kind of sacred nature of feathers. I'm not going to read that whole thing, which is beautiful. Then it says, the sacred landscape wants you to know. To find sacred simplicity and have clarity in your life, do only what matters. Release everything else. Simplify your life. Scan all areas and clear both internal and external clutter. I think Gretchen and I are both in that kind of process. I'm finding at least one thing every day that I can let go of goes to the goodwill, which is a good thing too. Rest, rejuvenate, and only participate in what is truly important to you. Relinquish everything else. Do not delay. Do it now. When your life is cluttered with objects, relationships, time constraints, and emotions, there's no room for spirit. There is too much static. I like that word, static. It's so true. It's like too much static and too much stuff to connect to your soul, which is the heart. Again, what Gretchen was talking about. The smallest amount of clutter clearing can make the biggest difference. So internal, external, in the moment. Like what's going on in the moment that's unnecessary? It's interesting. There are the things in the moment that we need to consider because they're in the moment. And then there are all the things that are about what we're going to do tomorrow, what happened yesterday, they're all over, which have nothing to do with anything.
Right. Especially not the present moment. Yeah.
Right. Exactly. Right. In this moment. Right.
Absolutely. Yeah, I feel it when you said that to the static, I was thinking about an old analog TV, and I'm dating myself when I say this, but it's like the rabbit ears. You have static until you get the rabbit ears just the right way, for that channel to come in. And I kind of feel like life is a bit like that. We have to deal with the static until we can tune into the clarity of where we are and who we are and what we're supposed to be doing. And I think by continuously coming back to the heart, that's such a simple thing to do, just come back to the heart space.
Right. And that is where the creator resides in us. It is really our place. It's our center. And it's interesting. It's really the center of the body in a way. And it's in terms of the certainly the chakra system, it's the fourth chakra, it's right in the middle, and it is a transition point. Um, and it is the center of our being. It's where the creator resides within us.
Right. The seat of the soul. I love that.
Yeah.
Really feel that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And then there are the times for all of us when things are happening that we can't just say, well, now I'm going to take a few breaths and be in the moment.
Right.
Because it's like maybe something startling has happened, or something that feels like it's unfortunate or disastrous. Even we're facing a potential disaster here in California today, with kind of a hurricane coming up through the Gulf of Mexico and into Southern California. And yet all we can do is be in the moment, and fear is not going to help. Right action, of course, if you're in a danger zone, right action is very important. But I think actually those of us who are here, the ones I'm aware of who are in this area, we're fortunate. It appears that we're off to the west a little bit from where the storm is going, so we're in a peaceful place. But when you're not, like when something happens and and the storm is headed right for you, or you're right in the middle of a storm of some kind, family matters or whatever, doesn't matter what it is. And it's interesting, we've been given an amazing gift by one of the masters who is actually, I think, the leading us into the new age, and that's Saint Germain. I keep this picture actually right now. I keep it in front of me. I have it on my desk, and it's the violet flame. You can use it with anything. It's a fabulous spiritual tool. And I think also all of the people who are here that I'm seeing, we all are healers. We have other tools too. If you don't have any other tools and want to clear, if you're experiencing fear or frustration or anxiety or anger, if you're being negatively impacted by the energy around you, which we all are, if we're rising into a place of love, that's not where the mass of humanity is. So we're all being bathed in in the mass consciousness thought forms that are not love. The violet flame is a great tool, and we're going to use that today in the meditation. I think Gretchen and I both use it pretty regularly.
Yes. It's so effective, and it's such a beautiful gift to have access to, and it you don't have to have any complicated ceremony. It doesn't have to be, it's something you can do in the moment. I love the simplicity of it. And there you go with simplicity again. I love the simplicity of it. And
Right.
absolutely.
Right. And you can invite Saint Germain to support you, and the angels. You have that option of inviting all of these beings who are just waiting to be invited. It's just amazing because we have so many resources that we're not using, and they are just magnificent. I do want to mention, and this is something that I have thought for quite a while. In fact, I talked with Gretchen about it, and recently have read actually that this is true. And especially with this particular deck of cards, this is from Kyle Gray's Keepers of the Light Oracle cards. And it might be hard to see on your screen, but if you look into Saint Germain's eyes, he's looking right at you. And you can look at him with the intention of connecting with him. And what I told Gretchen a while ago is I look at these pictures, and this particular set of cards has really great pictures of different masters, especially ascended masters and other beings too. And I would look into their eyes and I would feel their energy. And I still do. And I think that's, if you're wanting to strengthen those kinds of relationships with these beings, I think that's a beautiful way to do it. And you can also, you don't have to buy cards, actually. I think if you looked up Saint Germain on Google and went to images, you would see this image. among others. And you can pick the one that actually you relate to most, that feels like it's right to you. But I think just spending a moment with them and looking into their eyes, and also with gratitude, with love, they want us to express our love for them.
I agree. And Saint Germain, I don't know if you do, Jane, but I find him just very laid back. He's like somebody you could sit down and have a conversation with, you know.
Hmm.
He's been there, he's done that many lifetimes, you know. So
Right.
that feels really connecting or connective. And I mean I have his picture here too.
Yeah.
Um, really
Coincidentally.
like his energy a lot. But yeah, I think the artwork in these cards is phenomenal, and I think you really can connect very deeply with the imagery on these cards. You know, they
Hmm.
feel like real people that you can relate to. So
Hmm. Yeah.
yeah.
Another one that I have, that has, I don't like it quite as much as this one, but it has different beings. This is Kyle Gray's Angel Prayers, and this is a picture I keep up. I have it on my bookcase right now because I have pictures of these beings all over the place sometimes. This is Divine Mother.
Oh, that's beautiful. What a beautiful depiction of her. Just
And it
radiant.
just connecting with her, and you can feel the love. How can you not feel loved looking into her eyes?
Absolutely. So beautiful. What a beautiful card.
And she is here for all of us. It's interesting. Now I have to to show you. They do. He also has Divine Father, which is nice. So when you think Mother, Father, God,
Hmm.
and this is, I think, a beautiful one too. Divine Father,
Oh, that's beautiful. Absolutely.
so beautiful.
Yep.
So
Metatron's
having pictures like this, and again, you can find them on the internet. Look up Divine Mother or whatever, and you'd probably find this picture and dozens more. All of this is available, something that we can focus on rather than what's happening on CNN or whatever.
right.
Which I personally feel I want to know what's happening in the news. I feel that that's important. But if I'm drawn into it and I start polarizing because of it, then I'm not where I want to be. And then the violet flame is a good option
Sure.
too. To if you find yourself becoming angry or feeling like separate and alone or whatever from all of that.
Right. I mean, these are important states of being. I mean, we're meant to feel the full range of feelings and emotions as a human, but we don't have to reside in those places. And I think
Right.
that's important, you know, that
Right.
we can feel those lesser vibratory feelings of anger or frustration or whatever we're feeling, as long as we don't dwell there, you know. So
Right.
it's good to feel and be a human and feel that full scope of emotions. But we also have free will where we can pick and choose the ones that are the higher vibration, love, joy, things of that nature. So I think it's
Mhm.
lovely to be able to have, especially like these cards, to give us a place to refocus our energy and to bring
Right.
us back to that center place within us, you know, into our heart space. So
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah. And it is true. I think there are times when anger is a valid place to be.
right.
And it is, as Gretchen was saying, it's not getting stuck in those places,
Right.
because
Right.
ultimately it's about, if we want to evolve, if we really want to awaken, what we need to do is raise our vibration, which means we need more light and less heaviness overall. Um, so sometimes it's beneficial to just clear out whatever we've been collecting. And then we
Absolutely.
can still be aware of what's happening and approach it maybe from a more compassionate view, that, it is certainly worthy of compassion to think that there's so many people who are suffering unnecessarily.
Right. I mean, if we can stay in more of a neutral place and just witness what we're feeling, I think they're all good. They're good lessons. Okay,
Right.
this is what I don't I know what this feels like now. I don't want to feel this way. How do I get back to a state of grace? How do I get back to a heart space? And that's good. That just helps us bring our awareness into a higher dimension. We're becoming more aware of the different facets of ourselves. So
Hmm.
there's no
Right.
shame in feeling anger. There's no shame in
Oh
feeling
no, for
frustration.
sure. Right.
Right. Just as long as we don't live there,
Hmm.
it's a great place to be once in a while, gives us good life lessons, but it's not a place to live permanently. So,
For sure.
right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So ready for the meditation?
Yes.
Okay. Excuse me. So we're going to do what we often do in the circle. We're going to go to the mountaintop.
My favorite
And
place.
right. And it is interesting because we can intentionally go to places like sitting around a tree, or we can go to places that lift our spirits. And this is one that is very easy, actually. I use it with clients a lot. It's one of my favorite things actually to do with clients is take them to the mountaintop because everything looks different there.
Yes.
Um,
Yes.
so we'll start as we usually do. And if you're in a safe place to close your eyes, that's great. If not, please don't do it. So just starting again by closing our eyes and breathing in love and light from the universe. Again, you can ask for the perfect, most beautiful, wonderful, whatever that is for you, light. And as you exhale, releasing. The exhale is letting go. The inhale is embracing. The exhale is letting go. So as you're breathing in love and whatever beautiful light resonates with you, can send it anywhere you want in your body, anywhere maybe that feels a little heavy, anywhere that you haven't loved, any place in your body you haven't loved. You can send love there now. And of course, all around you in that ball of light that is your energy field, send love all around you. We're starting to connect more with that energy. And here we can perceive so many people are in this place that we call wallowing in the mud. They're living in a pretty consistent state of fear or anxiety, anger, frustration, so many things like that. And we can be compassionate with them. And at the same time, we don't have to stay there. If we're there, we can move away from that. So the first thing is asking any energy that is not your own, that is in your space energetically, ask it to go back where it came from other times, from other places, from other people. Because that frees more space for energy, for your own energy. And similarly, we leave bits of ourselves in other times, other places, with other people. You can ask to bring that all back to you in your body in this moment now. And you might notice when you do that that you feel more present, which is wonderful. And that feels simple, right? We're into simplicity here because we just want what's necessary in this moment. Sending energy into your mind if it's especially active, and clearing out your mind and asking any of those thoughts that you don't need right now, ask them to leave for now and tell them that you can connect with them later when the time is right. For now, we just want to be here in the moment. And then rising up, imagine you're breathing in lighter energy and feel so light, you just naturally start to rise up. And we want to go to a mystical mountaintop that's way above the mass consciousness thought forms, because those are always weighing on us when we're within their reach. So we want to go to a place where we're free of them. Imagine going really high up, And it's a magnificent place with a panoramic view of the world around you. And when you arrive there, you might feel that lofty air, so fresh, untampered, unhindered by pollution, just pure, fresh air. Beautiful breeze. And of course, that magnificent view. And focusing on an expansive view expands the mind. It's just a natural thing. And of course, getting that expansive view of the earth, it opens the heart to an appreciation of the beauty that is here for us, the magnificence that must have been part of its creation. How can this happen by accident? It hasn't, and we know the truth in our hearts. So we want to make sure we're connecting with that love in our hearts. It's like there's a light in there that becomes brighter as we breathe energy into it and focus our attention on it. And as we do that, the light becomes brighter and radiates out around us, filling all of our body with that beautiful light. And again, that space, all of the layers of the energy field around us. And that light we can focus on it entering into every cell. The cells love love, as do the atoms actually within the cells. And ultimately, what we're wanting to do as we connect with more light is to free the electrons in the atoms to spin more freely. And right now, in most people, they're mired up with sludge from the mass consciousness thought forms and just our individual stuff, burdens that we've laid on ourselves and karma from the past. So as we breathe that light in, can create more space for that. And then we can we can invite Saint Germain to join us, as we saw him before, that magnificent being, ascended master Saint Germain. And he is known for the violet flame. So when he enters, it's like you can easily surround yourself with the violet flame. The perfect flame for you. Some people say it has to be this way or that way. It is, what is the perfect flame for you in this moment? What does it look like and feel like? To me, it's a beautiful violet flame, and it is cool, by the way. It's not a hot flame. It's cool and supportive. Just going into all those spaces and clearing out some of that sludge. So if there's anything in particular, any emotion, fear, anxiety, anger, whatever, you can ask the violet flame to clear that. If it's just general, just ask it to clear out more space for light to enter. And I like to imagine it personally with sparkles of light, because sparkles are like they're sparks. they move energy. So you can imagine those sparks kind of moving around, starting to light up those areas and move the sludge out. Or a flame, maybe it's a flame for you, an actual something that looks more like a flame, whatever feels right to you. Might be a deeper color, it might be a combination of shades from a deep violet all the way down to a nice lilac and even a very white light. Like an amethyst, some amethyst crystals have all those different shades. And I sense Saint Germain is thanking us for inviting him, because this is so important for ourselves personally and for humanity. If you're feeling clear, you might be noticing what happens actually. is that whatever it is that's disturbing then is transmuted like alchemy into love and joy. So you might start feeling very happy, which is what happens to me. So I can happily imagine that violet flame extending out and going back into the mud where the people are, just filling those spaces of suffering humans with the violet flame. Can send it to the hurricane. I've sent it to the hurricane that's coming up into California. Just allowing it the opportunity to tame, to calm down. That's disturbed air. So we can ask the hurricane to calm down. Anywhere you want to send it in the world, anywhere where there's strife, any people who might need some support from the violet flame. And along with Saint Germain, I often invite also Archangel Raziel, and I connect them because Saint Germain is also like the magician. He is said to have been Merlin. Centuries ago. So we can invite Archangel Raziel to join us. And he's known for being one of the most joyous of the archangels. And his energy is seen as a rainbow of light, which I think is beautiful when we're filling in those spaces that have been opened up with the violet flame. We can send all of those colors into the cells of our body, and they can choose the ones that are right for them, the colors that they need, the energies that they need right now. And then I often, most recently, I've become acquainted with a beautiful goddess named Amaryssus, who I've talked with her, about her in the circle before too. Beautiful being of light, the twin flame of Ascended Master El Moria. And just she's known to provide pure light, a beautiful, bright quality of light, so we can allow that to flow over us and around us again, filling in any of those spaces that have been cleared from with the violet flame. All the way down into the cells and into the atoms, filling in those spaces and allowing the electrons to spin faster and more freely. I'm just curious, Gretchen, would you like to share anything you're noticing or experiencing?
I feel like Saint Germain is with us, and he's standing with his arms open wide as if he wants to embrace everyone. It just feels very loving and very supportive. And when you were talking about him as Merlin, I think my mind, I put a Merlin hat on him and I heard him laugh. He thought that was funny,
Right.
that we would do that I would do that. But I think that's an interesting thing. This is so enduring, in all the lifetimes that he lived. I think that's what's so amazing about this flame, is that it's so enduring. It's just as relevant as it is today as it was 1,000 years ago. And I think that's important to remember, just how effective it is, and to trust the process. For me, I felt like I feel like I'm in a temple on top of a mountain, like up in the Himalayas, and it's a sparkling white temple. And in the center of it is this big shaft of light that's coming down from the heavens. That's this beautiful violet color, and just standing in it, just kind of letting myself bathe in it is beautiful. And I just kept hearing him saying, this is available to everyone. This is available to everyone. And I think the work that you and I do is important too. I feel like that's what he's saying, is it's available to everyone, and he wants us to let other people know about it, just to
Right.
remind everyone that we have this ability to use this as a tool that's really effective and simple and free. It's
Hmm.
something that's available to all of us. I feel like that is often a message that I get from Saint Germain, is to share this.
Right.
This is not just for me, this is for everyone. So I feel like that's important to know.
Right. And it hasn't always been this way either. It was a time, speaking of temples, when when it was only people who had been invited by the masters into
Right.
temples, into their their sphere, you could say, into their realm of influence, um, who knew about the violet flame. So it was sometime in the 20th century, actually, that it opened to everyone, and not only with availability, but with a desire to have us use it, because we need to be moving along. We've been kind
Right.
of going nowhere for a long time
Right. As you say that too,
collectively.
I can see Saint Germain nodding his head and saying, yes, yes, this is important. That what you just said is really important. It was never meant to be something just for those people who were in, you know, high up in their hierarchy and their esoteric traditions. It was never
Hmm.
meant to be. It was really meant to be a gift to all of humanity.
Hmm. Right. But if we misuse it,
Hmm.
then they have to pay the price. They offer
Hmm.
it to us a gift, but in a way they're giving us their energy. It's kind of hard to understand, probably from our perspective. They're entrusting energy to us to be used well.
That's why it's a gift.
Hmm.
I
Right.
think with receiving all gifts, we should be appreciative and mindful of how we use the gift. So
Right.
absolutely.
Right. So with that, I want to thank all of these beings. I know it's Saint Germain and Archangel Raziel and Amaryssus and more. I think all of our guides and many others, other angels and beings of light, are supporting us right now. So we can thank them and share our love with them. I think since that time of meeting with Metatron and having him suggest to connect with the archangels and masters and all these beautiful beings, it's been life changing, and they are here for all of us. But we have to ask, and we have to have a sincere desire to use what they give us. In terms of being in the flow, we have to be doing our part of understanding what it is, what the flow is for us, what is in the flow and what is not in the flow that we have to release. Because this is the time. So beautiful. And
Right. Without
just
the action behind our words. Yeah. I
right.
think that's important to know that
Hmm.
we can't just say,
Hmm.
I'm in the flow.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. And I want the angels to be with me. They are with us, and they do everything they can without our
Right.
participation. But if we really want to get the most from it, we need to bring the brightest part of us to it, like coming to the mountaintop and with a sincere desire to be in the flow with the divine. Just imagine if everybody on earth wasn't in the flow with the divine. It would be a very different place that we live in. Beautiful idea. And in the meantime, we can foster those connections we have with that for ourselves, like we do in the circle here. So, again, we're ready to return. And we don't have to leave the light behind, by the way, just bringing that light with you back. Imagine yourself drifting back down into your body here, wherever you are actually located. Noticing your feet firmly connected to Mother Earth, who also is appreciative of our love, so we can send love to her. And with that, I feel another big supportive love from her. Breathing in more active energy now. We'll come to our normal waking states. Just quickening up our brain waves a little bit, that brings us back. And when you're ready, you can open your eyes.
I never want to come back fully. So
Right.
beautiful, the energy.
Yeah. And it's very good for us. It's very good for us
Absolutely.
to be in a place where we're not rushing around for a few minutes, where we can just
Right.
be.
Absolutely. That was beautiful. Thank you, Jane.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I enjoyed that. And it is really thank them. Yeah, it's kind of like I don't know what else to say about it.
Right. I felt really good coming into the circle of love and light, but I feel even better if that's even
Mhm.
possible. now.
Oh,
Like,
I always feel better by the end, and I'm hoping all the
Yeah.
people who join us do too. That's the goal, is that love and light, have more love and light.
Sometimes I think I'm just surprised that I can feel even better than I was already feeling,
Mhm. Right. Yeah. Well, it is. We can collect. Doing a process like that should bring more light into your field,
Right.
and just being supported in a
Absolutely.
community like this does it.
I agree.
Sharon said, amorphous like a lavender lava lamp. I think that was the,
That's
the
interesting.
violet flame. That's beautiful. Bab
I've
says,
actually
thanks so very much. I'm so grateful. And
Yeah.
Nikki says, me too. Thank you.
I've actually perceived it sometimes as liquid light, like what she's describing, like a lava lamp too. I think that's it does change, Sometimes I'm in an amethyst geode, sometimes I'm standing in light, sometimes I'm in the violet flame. It's different, it's different frequently. And I think part of that is just so we can experience a full scope of what that violet flame can be for us. So that's really beautiful.
Right. And of course, as we were suggesting, that the key is your action plan. So from here, with this, wherever you are, if you are in a brighter place, what is your action plan for moving forward? What do you imagine for yourself? And it might be regular use of the violet flame. It might be coming to the circle. It's whatever it is for you. And then I'm going to draw a card for the result, the potential result, if we follow our action plan. So think about it. We have to collectively have our action plans. And it doesn't matter where you are in time and space. It's all collective. It's all you're included. So I think it's interesting with oracles. You can have the card, and it's like, oh, that's a nice card, and then it's like out the window. But what is the potential result? It's beautiful. It says patience.
Oh, that's good. I like that.
That isn't a word I would have thought, but when I think of it now, it's like it's allowing. It feels like allowing, being in more of a place of allowing what is, which is important for being in the flow. Let's see what the cards say. Did you want to share anything, Gretchen, for right now?
I was just going to say, it reminds me of the tree you were talking about, like going and sitting with a tree. I think trees are wonderful guides for teaching us patience. Just think about how long it took to grow a tree. They're in no hurry. Trees are a great example of patience. They're not in a hurry to grow. They just are. So it's wonderful to tune with that energy.
Yeah. Oh, it's interesting. It says dense fog. Hopefully coming out of a dense fog. Water represents our emotions, feelings, subconscious, and nocturnal dreams. When the water becomes condensed as fog, we can't see clearly. Fog occurs when the air is cooled to a point at which it cannot hold all the water and vapor it contains. As a note, something that I really like about this particular oracle also is that it connects us with how nature is connected with all of these different aspects of our reality. Thus, it condenses water vapor where it is suspended in the air as fog. We can't see what's ahead, and things that look one way in the fog will look another way in the light. However, when you can't perceive what's on the horizon of life, your imagination can surge forward and your sixth sense can be ignited. It says, sacred landscape wants you to know, in dense fog, it's best to be quiet and still. For now, don't go forward. Wait, it's hard to see what lies ahead, and things may not be as they seem. Things that seem one way may be completely different. Be patient. The truth will emerge. In this state of obscured visibility, your imagination and intuition can be sparked. If you can wait long enough, your dreams and inner yearnings can come to fruition. Listen to your intuition and pay attention to those seemingly random thoughts. And it makes me think too, if you do something like we just did now and the fog clears with the violet flame, then you can be in that place where life is completely different and can be different. So you want to stay in that place of clarity and be available for that.
Right. And that touches back on synchronicities too.
Right.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So Nikki says, oh boy, that's a biggie for me, patience. Yeah. And it is patience. Impatience is counter to flow, I think.
Well, it is, and it gets you nowhere. It actually isn't it makes you more stuck because you're not waiting for it to play out. So
right. Yeah. And Bab says, in the flow, you are patient with life and self.
Yep.
Right.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's beautiful. And again, I think it's, to me, the oracle cards just add another layer to everything, a layer of awareness. And I always look at, well, if I do this, is it going to enhance what I want to experience, or is it going to detract from it? And I think that they definitely enhance.
I agree.
And this particular deck I find to be pretty special.
Me too.
It just seems to go where it needs to go.
Yeah, I love that.
And like I said, I wouldn't have expected patience, but it does resonate. It's like, how can you be in the flow if you're not in a place where you're patient with life, with the flow of life?
Right. Just thinking about the comparison of being impatient versus patient, there's a lot of like anxious, frenetic energy around being impatient. And I can see where it's like spinning your wheels in the mud.
Right.
You're not going to get any traction that way.
Right.
You can't force something to work beyond the time it needs to work in. So
right. Yeah.
Yeah.
In that idea of perfect timing, everything's in perfect time.
Yep.
When you're in the flow, you realize that everything is in perfect time.
Right. Absolutely.
Whether it's the way you wanted it, your small self wanted it, like, I want this now.
Right. Yeah, when does that ever work? It doesn't work. It's a drain on your energy, really,
Yeah. So we're right at the end of our time. It went fast. I think the meditation was fairly long, but it seemed worth it.
It was beautiful.
Nikki said, what I'm learning, big lessons, seeing the flow more often. Well, that's good. Congratulations. Yeah. And that's what it is. As Gretchen said, it's not about being perfect. It's not like someday I'm going to get this perfect and everything is going to be just great and whatever. It's not. It's like, I can be in the moment, and we can do this now. We can aim to be in the flow with these benefits now.
Right. Why wait?
Right.
Such a good question. Why wait?
Right. Yeah. It's not like the grass is greener out there. It's not going to be greener unless it's greener here. So let's start today. So Gretchen, would you like to let people know how they can find out more about you and what you're up to?
Great. Yeah, thank you, Jane. So I have a lot of different online programs right now, coaching programs. You can find all of my offerings at spiraljourney.net. It's my website. You can also connect with me here on Facebook under Spiral Journey Holistic Life Services or Gretchen Comer. And I have free offerings on one of my pages on my website. Please go there and watch and download all of the resources. I'd love to have you stop by.
Thank you. And for Awakenings Institute, our nonprofit organization devoted to creating a more loving world, we have a resource kit for light workers, spiritual healers, and way showers. It has a number of kind of loving, happy things, and you can learn more about that at tinyurl.com/spiritual-kit. That goes to our website, which is gettingthrough.org. And you can find it also on gettingthrough.org/spiritual. That page, there are links to that kit, and there's much more on the website. It's a big website. So thank you all for being here. As I mentioned at the beginning, you are very much, and I think Saint Germain was telling you too, you're very appreciated for supporting what he's trying to do for us, what he's aiming for humanity.
Yes.
So if you want to support the circle, you can follow our page on Facebook, facebook.com/awakening circle. You can share this video with your friends on Facebook and spread the word. And you can invite friends to join you in the circle and share in that way. The last thing we do also is just send love and light forward into the coming weeks, so we can send some of that accumulated light forward into every aspect of your week ahead. So when you get there, there's more love and light. And the last thing that's left is just our wish for you to have a wonderful week.
Bye-bye.